allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So all members are present. Chairman, read the public comment policy statement. If there is anyone from the public that wants to make a comment to the board, they will need to go over to the table and read the script and then fill out the form to make a public comment. At the end, we will reserve 30 minutes for public comment, but you will only get 3 minutes to speak on your topic. The board will not respond unless the chair allows it. Okay, first up, we have the consent agenda. So need a motion and a second to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Consent agenda.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Next up, we have new hires, which I don't believe we have any today, unless somebody's looking for a job. Guess not. Okay, next up, we have recognition of Audrey Chapin, payroll specialist, auditor's office, dedication, service, and retirement. Okay, Audrey, you want to come on up? Mary Ann, you want to?
So Audrey is retiring this Friday after almost 46 years of service to Potawatomi County. At all of that time having been spent in the auditor's office, she is the second longest serving employee in Potawatomi County. And we are sad to lose Audrey, but we're very happy that she gets to do something other than work with benefits and figure out numbers all day long. So we're very excited for her.
Back over across.
Thank you.
Lost her good camera.
I understand.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Audrey.
I'm here.
I was gonna come and say thank you, but congratulations. Thank you.
Hey, would you mind getting the picture?
Enjoy it.
I don't know.
Audrey,
I enjoyed it.
Audrey, why don't you stay right there? We'll get a picture. We'll get a picture
Of all of us. Okay. Thing I hate to do. Yes, it kind of balances it out. I don't know which way. There you go. Thank you.
Favorite thing is getting my picture.
I know, you hate to get blind line. I know that.
Audrey started here part-time as a TJ high school student in 1979. So.
I enjoy it.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
That was nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Be able to attend. I believe that should happen
Thursday.
Thursday. I'll let her know. Okay, Tom Coleman, General Manager, Regional Water, update on Pioneer Trail Pipeline, temporary boost pump, and the water conservation status. Sounds like a lot of things going on there, Tom.
Well, yes, we are
Are you above
rather
water or
busy.
below water?
What's that?
Are you above water or below water?
We are above water,
Okay,
unfortunately. We'd like to be treading water right now. that
Okay.
There's so much of it. The good news is, as you guys received the formal letter from our engineering firm certifying that we have achieved substantial completion of the Pioneer Trail pipeline. Just a quick timeline that I don't think he included in the email. Holstein reported to our engineers on the 30th of May that they had achieved all of the requirements for substantial completion. DGR then did their verification of all the steps in the contract, and certified to me on the 11th of June. That was the day that I sent you all that email saying, hey, I've just been notified that they have that. We then had the engineers go ahead and put together the formal letter and et cetera, which I emailed out to you all and to the developers. And just so you all know, then we went ahead and upon the request from the developers to go ahead and formally invoice them at the end of the month of June. So everything is on track. The water is available. Right now, there is only one individual who is hooked up who wants to have the water turned on. Most of the connections that were part of the project itself, besides the two developers, those homes were actually being built. So they're not prepared at this point to turn on, but we are ready to push water. We've already tested it. We can push over close to 2 million gallons of water a day down that pipeline, if that's what we need, coming through the 8-inch line down there to the Pioneer Trail development. So there's plenty of water and there's plenty of pressure. So I believe I went back and looked in my notes. Didn't see anything that had from the previous loan that we had gotten before, forgivable loan, that there was any formal paperwork that I'm supposed to submit to request you to consider to waive that, but just, I'm supposed to come to you and tell you that that is our intent or our request, is that the board then consider the forgivable loan agreement, the portion thereof whereby you guys determine whether or not you're going to forgive the $300,000 loan that you gave to us back in 2022.
The rest of the system.
Rest of the system is doing well. We're actually pumping over 150 gallons a minute through the temporary booster station up into our Avoca treatment plant system. That is filling tank 5 and partially filling tanks 1 and 2 on the western part of our system. If you do the math over a 24-hour period, that equates to roughly 224,000 gallons of water a day that we're bringing up from Council Bluffs. I have had several conversations with Brian Cady and the folks at Council Bluffs Waterworks. They have been extremely helpful in making sure that we got everything smoothed out, got the kinks out. All the air pockets seem to have finally gotten dissipated and out of the way. And now that we've got the piping adjusted, we're pumping well.
Was it Tower 6, the one that?
Tower 6 is our main tower on the Avoca treatment plant system. So the Tower 5 is the one that's closest. It's right just north of Minden, and that's where we're connecting to our 8-inch line there. That's where we're connecting to Council Bluffs. And what that's allowing is for Tower 6 then to basically focus on primarily the eastern half of our system, while the water coming from Council Bluffs is pushing up on the west side. And then we augment that with a little bit of water from 6. We actually shut down the last 2 days. Our plant automatically shut off because demand was low enough that we could shut the plant off for 4 hours the last 2 days in a row. Today is day 1 of the power switch over our plant, so it's going to be off for 12 hours or 8 hours rather, today and tomorrow. And the intent is by the time we get to the end of the day on Wednesday, we will be on an all-new power grid from Mid-American, and that will allow us to finish the upgrades that we were doing to our Avoca treatment plant.
Should we expect calls?
I don't think at this point, no. I was very pleasantly surprised by the numbers this morning. I think it helped that we got hit with a lot of rain up in Shelby County. So the demand or the use of water was not anywhere near what we anticipated it to be. And we had pushed real hard yesterday to try and get everything as full as we could, knowing that we were going to shut off today.
What's the power upgrades that you guys are doing?
Well, we have 25-year-old technology in our plant. And so this upgrade is required, and this upgrade was requiring us to have to bring in a new panel. And based on the stuff that we had there, the electrical contractor said, look, here's what you need to do. You got to get rid of all this grid, get rid of it and bring in the new stuff, because the new stuff is actually scalable and is upgradable. The stuff we had could not be upgraded any longer than we had already. So and Mid-America came in, got the power into us yesterday, and everything was tested and verified that it was ready to go.
So
So,
did you have to bring in additional power then?
yes,
Well, was it more than?
just more amperage.
You had three-phase already, I assume.
Oh, yeah, no, it's three-phase, but it's just that we had to bring in greater amperage and have, right. The other thing is when they put that power in, they actually had it synced so that if one part of the system went down, it took the whole system down.
Yeah.
It was not set up to where it could be
Segregated.
independently operated. Now, on this, that's part of what we did here with the upgrade to the electrical side, was to be able to segregate it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Matt, is there anything we have to do in that agreement? Do we have to put that on the agenda next week to forgive this? If that's what the board so chooses?
I'll pull out that agreement again and read back through it, but I believe it was just submittal from the engineer that they had reached substantial completion.
Okay. You want to double check that with Kristen then?
I will certainly do that.
Any other questions for Tom?
Tom, I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Pioneer Trail pipeline, tell me again how much you're ready to push out, 2 million gallons
We can push out up to 2 million gallons a day.
a day. And then the other question I have is the Avoca plant, is it still on red or is it moved up
Yes,
to?
the Avoca treatment plant system is still on red because we are, until we have this power switched over this week and everything's back on and we can see exactly where we are in terms of usage on the system. We're going to make sure that we coordinated all this with the EMAs and the county EMAs as well as the townsfolk and told them this is what's going to happen. And ideally, we're going to be able to then start looking at downgrading our conservation posture by the end of the week. Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I've got a couple too. Tom, I think you mentioned that the Council Bluffs line feeds Tower 5,
Correct.
and the Avoca, people that live in Avoca on rural water, they get theirs from tank 6.
Yes.
We run into a situation again where the levels are lower than Nishnabotna. How do you get Council Bluffs water to Avoca?
Well, we have made the modification in our main booster station up there that the way our system is set up, 6 is the one sitting on the hill above our plant right there, up north of Avoca. Water comes out of the plant to Tower 6 and then from that elevation pushes out in all directions to the system. The connection from Council Bluffs is allowing us to bring additional water capacity into the system. So if the niche gets low and even when the niche was really low last summer, we were still able to produce about 700 gallons a minute out of our Avoca treatment plant. And that is about 75% to 80% of what we need for our customers. And that's where the Council Bluffs water is giving us that additional augmentation.
Is there any way to get water from Tower 5 to Tower 6?
Yes. When 5 is pushing up, in order to get the pressure it needs to reach 1 and 2, it goes through our main booster station. The main booster station is connected to Tower 6. And we had the contractors put a valve in the main booster that will allow us to divert water from tank 5 over to Tower 6.
That's perfect. then.
Yeah.
So they won't, well, I'm not saying it's perfect, but at least they're gonna have water if the niche runs low.
Yes.
Okay, last question. You included in your letter a punch list.
Yes.
How are you doing on that?
The rain has made we told the seed, or we did not want the seeding guy to go out and do the final grade and the seeding of the yards until after we got past these. There were 2 major weather events that were on the 10-day forecast. And we still have until, I think it's, the Minden pipeline is until November. On the Pioneer Trail pipeline is till the end of August. I think it's September 1st. So we still have a month and a half of time yet for the seeder to come out. He can do an awful lot of work in a very short period of time. So we're getting past this one and then the weather event that's on the map right now for Thursday of potentially hazardous weather. So the goal is to have him get that stuff done starting next week. In the meantime, any of the tree pickup, I think you see on the, I may not have given you the adjusted punch list. But there are several places where there was brush that was taken down or trees, stumps that were moved because we dug them up as the pipe was put in the ground. All of that stuff is being hauled away this week. So we'll get all of the other stuff out of the way. So all that's left is smoothing everything down and putting the seat on.
So when you talk about the Avoca treatment plant, is this the same plant that water treatment plant?
Yes, the Avoca treatment plant is our water treatment plant that serves the vast majority of Shelby County, the northern slice of Potawatomi County, and then parts of Ottoman, Harrison, and Cass counties.
But it's really the rural water.
It is a rural water plant, right? It belongs, that is Regional Waters plant. Avoca's old water treatment plant is now an apartment complex.
Okay.
When they got on our system back in early 2000s, they sold that building and it was turned into an apartment building.
Thank you.
One more. Does Council Bluffs Water, when it makes it to your station, does it have to be retreated?
But we actually do that at the temporary booster pump. We are breakpoint chlorinating the water. So we're turning it from chloraminated water into free chlorine water. So in the long run, once that hard site building is done and is set up to pump, we're actually converting the rest of our system to chloraminated water. So it's going to be the same as Council Bluffs water, and it makes it that much easier for us to blend it.
Thank you. Any other questions? for Tom?
Good.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Keep us posted.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll get some sleep soon.
Good. Next up, we have Travis Castle, Vision Trainer Group, Michael Holton, City Administrator, City of Trainer, and Alan Hatfield, Mayor, City of Trainer. Discussion and decision to approve and authorize the board to sign Resolution 4025, approving the use of the city's trainer of future incremental property tax revenues produced with respect to the 2025 trainer housing urban renewal area for 5 additional fiscal years. Presentation and update on project. Who is going to take this away?
I'm Travis Castle had a family emergency, so not even here this morning. I'm Scott Ralphs with Ralphs Engineering. I'm the vice president of Vision Trainer Group. I'm a civil engineer. I have some exhibits. Is it okay if I pass those out to you guys and pull it up on the screen? Each of you. Yep. Figured it'd be good for you guys to have this. I'm gonna give you a brief 2-minute version of the history and what we got going on in Trainer. And then we have Alan Hadfield here, as the mayor, Mike Holton's the city administrator. They'll have some comments too, I think. So in 2011, a group of local volunteers started the Vision Trainer Group in Trainer with the broad goal of community improvement. We created a 501c3 to start funding and searching for funding for community projects in and around Trainer. In 2012, Vision Trainer Group received a large initiation grant from the TS Banking Group and purchased 63 acres of land just on the north side of Highway 92 across from the high school. You can see the dark black line is the property as it exists today. In 2013, we performed a community study, sent surveys out, got like 300 responses to people in and around Trainer. They identified 3 things that were priorities for the community, and those were recreation opportunities, trails, and housing. Then in 2017, after that survey, we did a community fundraising and got some funds, not enough to really do what we wanted to do. So it took us till 2017 when we completed the first phase of grading, which is shown in kind of the purple area there. It's that existing baseball field and the existing multi-use field there. So that was all graded in 2017 with funds that were received from the community. Then in 2019, the group received an Iowa West grant to complete the build out of that first baseball field. So we have a wonderful baseball field there now. We have people coming from Gretna and all over Nebraska saying this is one of the best fields they get to play on. So we're real proud of that. Also in 2019, we sold off the northwest portion of the property. You can see it's on the aerial photo. It's got houses on it now. We sold that to a private developer who developed that and put 29 homes in 2019. Then in 2022, the group received a grant from the Lakin Foundation to build a family pavilion. And it's shown there kind of in the middle, that building there. And it is currently up and working on interior finishes, but it's there and operating. In 2023, in partnership with the city and another nonprofit group in Trainer, we applied for and received a Destination Iowa grant for road and site amenities. The road is shown in yellow on the north side of the property there. And it is currently in construction. Also in 2023, we had a group of volunteer farmers and people come in and do some volunteer grading to grade some more of the property to the east. We got that done with mostly volunteer labor. Then in 2024, the Lakins announced their housing fund through the Southwest or through the West Community Foundation of Western Iowa. And we are one of the organizations that is receiving a loan to develop housing in Trainer. And we have two subdivisions. We're going to do it as one on the west and east sides shown in yellow there. 36 lots that we're planning to develop. Starting grading, we got grading plans going out this week. We're planning to have the grading done this year. There's a couple 100,000 yards of dirt that has to be moved. And then we'll follow that up with the public improvements. There's about $2.4 million of roadway and utilities planned to be built for this subdivision. Also, the city is currently in construction of the main connector road from Highway 92 to the northwest. That's a $1.7 million project funded by the city that is currently in construction, should be done in November of this year. And so with grading starting this year on the subdivisions, we're here. We worked with a group out of Des Moines, a Cascada group, for our financial planning and modeling and pro forma. And we identified that we would like to ask for an additional 5 years for the TIF payback as we move forward. And that's why we're here in front of you today. If you have any engineering or Vision Trainer Group questions, I can answer those, or the city guys can answer any questions. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add, Mike or Alan?
We're gonna try to keep it, the questions as we answer, because you know me, I could probably talk for an hour and a half and you don't want that. So, but I'm willing to answer any of the questions on the tax incremental financing as it relates to chapter, it'd be 403 and 404 of the Iowa Code.
Are you planning on tipping both of these?
Yeah, it's gonna be developed as one.
What's the average price of the homes?
Not been determined, but they'll be up there. It's market rate housing. I would say 400,000 to 500,000 is probably a good guess.
So do you have to set the LMI aside? What do you do with
Do
that?
you want me to go ahead and attack this? All of this, it goes hand in hand. And one of the things that we have to look at, especially with Trainer, we did the Heartland subdivision and came before you a few years ago. And that was very, very successful. All 29 homes have been built. And that did have a, what they call tax incremental finance reduction. And some people call it variance, but it was a reduction because if you look at the law states you do it by the county, and that ends up roughly at a 55-45 type split. And as you've heard from many, many developers and others, it just doesn't cash flow. So you go to the Iowa Economic Development Authority to get that reduction. We've done that, and they're treating this as one subdivision, even though it's two parts because of the infrastructure. And talking with Debbie Durham just this last week, they were pleased and very excited about this project. And surprisingly, and you'll hear this a lot because they're being very tight, they did authorize the reduction to an 80-20, which means we can set 20% aside, 80% back to the developer to make it cash flow better, hopefully quicker. We don't know this. This is why we're asking for the 5-year extension, but we were pleased with what we got back. And I think they're pleased with what they're seeing, at least in housing and development in Trainer.
At this time, what is your LMI balance?
The LMI balance has just started because we had that Heartland, so it is roughly, it's still only about $100,000 from the Heartland edition, because that, if you want to call it a beginning of certification, started in about 2022. Becky Lenahan would be here. She could help. We could go through this all together. But that first year was relatively small. So we're in about the third year of that and returning it back with that LMI balance to sit there for projects that have to be used within that LMI circle. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily mean housing construction. In our case, it's going to mean using for LMI folks who want to do housing facade improvements, who want to do siding, electricals, lead, asbestos, all those kind of things will qualify into the program once we get a balance that can be used. It's not there yet. So we're working on it.
Michael, can you use some of that money for down payment for,
It is an eligible use. We did not ask for that, but you can use it for first time, low income down payment assistance, but that is not necessarily what we asked for.
thank you.
But, did you send us the pro forma that you had done?
I think Scott's got the pro forma.
I don't think it's probably been sent to you, no.
Okay, it could be get that.
Yeah, you certainly can, Scott.
And then, so what year are you in the TIF on the first phase?
On the Heartland edition, I believe it's going to go into, because we're into the fall, the 4th certification. We're 3 years into it.
3 years into it. You want to extend that one 5 years?
No,
You're not asking for it. It sure
no,
sounds,
that was
sure
already
sounds
good.
that way, but so you're just asking for 5 years on the 2 new parcels.
Correct,
So
Scott.
you know what that's generating, the Heartland, how many lots was that?
29 lots and roughly, and these are all rough,
Heartland was 29 lots?
29 lots. And
Awesome.
this one we're
This
going to
was
do is going to be 37
30, yeah.
or 36. We
36.
Scott's the engineer. We haven't approved the plat yet.
So what was the value of the Heartland?
They were originally agreed upon as a promise that they would build no less than $250,000 homes. That never even hit water. It was $350,000 before they ever started. So the valuation, if you look at from Trainer from 2020, I call it the origin year, and you look at now, it increased the area by 12 million. So we went from 38 million to 50 million. So it was a great improvement, and we're looking forward to putting that money into our coffers as well as yours when we get that time extension done. Not extension, the original agreement.
Do you have developers lined up for the 36 new homes?
Not yet.
Do you envision one developer doing them all or having onesie twosie?
Yeah, Vision Trainer Group is going to act as the developer, and then they're going to sell lots to builders. So it will be individual builders, lots of builders, not one.
Lot sizes or what?
Approximately 80 to 90 feet wide and 130 to 170 deep.
If I could, I would just like to share a little memory. My wife and I moved to Trainer at 95, and I can see my house, where left-hand corner, Ambry Circle. And we sit in the back in our deck and used to look north. There's nothing there. Green fields, sun, late in the afternoon, the sun be out there in clouds. It looked to me and my wife. It looked exactly like the Wizard of Oz scenes that Dorothy and the gang comes on, onto Emerald City out of the forest. It's so beautiful, just so beautiful. And now you guys are gonna destroy that. But it's just a memory I thought I'd share, and certainly supportive of what trainers you guys are doing. And
So do we have any cost estimates on the infrastructure for this development?
Yeah, it's, 2.4 million, I think, is the total amount
That's
of,
for all the infrastructure,
yep. That's the
Including
hard
the road?
cost for infrastructure.
including the road, right?
Yep.
And then, what, I guess if I saw the pro forma, what's it proposing to derive out of the TIF?
That amount, 2.4 million.
Pardon,
That amount, 2.4.
is what the TIF's gonna drive?
Yep.
Yeah.
We have a loan from the Lincoln Foundation. I want to clarify. It's not a
Oh,
not a
no,
grant.
I know what you
Okay.
got.
Okay. We gotta pay it back though. It's not,
Yeah, it was portrayed as one thing and it's a little bit different,
yeah.
modified.
Michael, this is a 16-year TIF.
Yeah, Tim, and I don't want to get into the weeds, but you understand where it comes from. It will actually be 16 years, because the way the law is written, I think Matt Wyatt's behind me, he can we can actually talk about this. It's a 15-year setup, but there's that 1 year the law provides as kind of the certifying, so it is a 16-year complete TIF with the 5-year extension.
Okay, that, and you said you estimate the TIF to be 2.4 million. When you pick your developers, you'll enter into an agreement with them, right? They have to build so many homes at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna have a timeline that, we want to get this going quickly. So after a lot sale, we'll say they're 12 or 18 or 24 months. Within that time frame, a home has to be completed. We don't want this dragging on forever because we want to get it started. But it all is dependent on how quickly things sell. And, we just don't know that. We can't predict it. Think it'll be good, but, you never know. Why we're asking for the additional time.
And you penciled that out to be a 15, 16 year. I don't think it's gonna take that long. But that's just my opinion.
Tim, I'm not disagreeing. I mean, this is, like I said, and then make sure it's a safety concern on the TIF payback. 5-year extension is what the pro forma pencils out. We know even with the one with Jason James on that Heartland, they asked for you for a 1-year extension on a $1 million on the agreement, and we're seeing it come in, and we're doing the penciling every year, and I think that'll probably be done in about 9 or 10. Even though they asked for that extra year, the developer's agreement will then finite. It'll be into that whenever that has been paid back. So it's been a positive thing. It's been a great thing for Trainer.
You want a motion for that, Michael?
We do. We're asking for a motion for the extension.
a second.
I'm disappointed Travis wasn't able to come this morning because I know he was a catalyst in the vision training.
Yeah, he's been instrumental.
And I've seen him light up when he talks about, well, we're gonna move this pile of dirt and we're gonna put houses over here. And it was just exciting to see how it's all come together. And driving that road on a daily basis, that connection to get some of that traffic through Trainer, that new road is going to be huge. And I can't wait for it to be operational. I'm wondering how many speed bumps you're gonna have to put on.
First world problems, yes, and I'm not, we are anticipating the speed bumps and the stop signs and, who knows, maybe we'll have flashing lights all over. I don't know, we're gonna have to figure out that on the fly. But I'm glad you did bring that up. I want the county board to understand that the city's part of it, along with working with the developer on this housing, was on their own to put in this road. It's a connector road from Highway 92 that runs clear up back into as you can see to the north, I think you took it down, but it runs into the new Heartland addition. And we bonded that as the city, and the mayor and the council are very progressive and very proud to work with them for 1.9 million. The road is estimated to come in at 1.7. but it'll be done this fall. It is a safety valve off of Highway 92. It is a connector to the recreational facilities of Vision Trainer Group, and now a major connector to what we anticipate to be two wonderful subdivisions.
Did you say the city bonded for that then?
Yes, we bonded separately and worked on that, and that's our, I don't want to say contribution, but that is our looking to the future and what was needed. And Alan, as the mayor, and he'll speak for himself, but we talked about it more as a safety road and then anything else. This wasn't done just because we're looking at the two subdivisions. That's a bonus, that's a prize. But we were looking at it, what can we do to help out from the terms of, because anybody that knows Trainer knows that the four-way intersection there, it can get dangerous at times, and it's the only outlet and safety valve in and out of Trainer. This will provide a little bit of a relief to that. And it would have came in handy a few years ago when we had a transformer blow up on Highway 92, not too far from Alan's house.
So this subdivision that's proposed on the, what I would call the east side, is you're gonna enter it halfway through the subdivision? Is
Yes,
that correct?
halfway through the new road.
So are you looking at expanding that, whatever we're gonna name that road, further east and further north?
We're setting it up for potential. We don't own or control those properties. But
And did have it there
yeah,
in both those spots.
yeah, that's the plan.
So basically you're taking one lot out of play.
Yeah,
Okay.
for future housing, if
Okay.
and when it, whatever.
When Alan gives up and down.
I'm just curious, so do you have future residential housing developments in mind?
Jeff, you brought that up, and I'm glad you do. I mean, these are things I don't want to, you got a meeting to go, and I don't want to keep going on that. But 5 years ago, and we looked at all of the things that need to happen to the future. We just can't be in the now. So the housing study that Pottawatomie County did, instrumental. Great job is with Iowa West Foundation, and that study I used as a kind of a Bible. We also went to another engineering firm outside of Scott and had a housing study done in 2020, 2021, and looked at the north, south, east, and Trainer, there are some landlocked properties with farming that we have to be careful of, but we did look at what would it look like all the way around with the potential of 200 and some homes. So we're just doing this piece by piece.
Want to commend you for using different ideas, to get this done. It's not easy doing a development, especially Tiffin it. So congratulations, guys.
Just ask that you have, hopefully bring a bunch of new developers into our county, because there's definitely shortage of those. So with that, any other questions in regards? Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shay,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Good job.
Okay. Up next, Michael Holton, City Administrator, Alan Hatfield, Mayor of City of Trainer, update on the rural Pottawatomie County Infrastructure Coalition project.
I'll make this brief. I mean, we're trying to kill two birds with one stone. You heard about the development of the subdivisions. In your generosity years ago, you worked with the RPCIC, the thing with all the entities that were involved, and in Iowa West Foundation ended up giving the city 700 and almost 50,000. You gave 750,000 toward the construction of the wastewater treatment facility, which was in bad need of upgrade, repair to meet standards. And all I want to do is come back to report to you that the substantial completion was given by the engineers, our engineers, which is JEO, in June of this year. So the final completion checklist and punch list won't go until September, because we're just buttoning it up, but it is online. It is working as it's supposed to. We'll see more of the effect of the new wastewater treatment facility in the winter months, because that's where we'll actually see the ammonia reductions. And but we know now, even in the summer, that it's working as it's supposed to. We just have to do a lot of things. commend the county. I commend the city council, the mayor. Alan has always been progressive. He's the one that took me on my first tour when we went up, when he hired me to the top of the hill to Jeff, to what you were talking about, and said, we're going to build 29 new homes here. And I said, where? Because it was the middle of winter. I didn't even have the beautiful sunshine and green grass. I had snow. And so it's a reality. We can't go to the future without the county's help. We know this. We also have to do it with our wastewater treatment facility. And before you even ask the question on water, we're 2 years ahead of that. We're trying to get the study done. Rural water is in that study as a look. You know, we have to look at all different things. We have 2 deep wells. Trainer is well served. We've not had a problem with water even during the restriction times. We went to level, you call it red. There's a lot of different things they call it across the country, but we went to level 2 last year on restrictions simply because it's the right thing to do when you have drought conditions and you're trying to be conservation minded. And I'm not even going to mess with Golden Hills here right in front of me because but they would agree. We do that out of precaution, not necessarily because we had to. And we're looking at our alternatives, whether we need, we got people who don't want Trainer to be 25,000 people. They may be uncomfortable with 3,000. So we're going to try to work to making sure that we make everybody happy.
Michael, one last question. Does a developer get paid in the first 10 years and then on the TIF?
Short answer, that is what TIF is.
I know, but, and then the other 5 years completely goes to you.
No, it'll be a developer agreement that will be made out on basis of the 2.4 million of the cost, and that still has to be worked out. This is chronologically, we're doing this in order. The developer agreement's next on the list, but they will ask for 2.4 million. The TIF will go through that 2.4 million, hopefully with good things happening. They are paid, and then the TIF ends for the city and for the developer once that infrastructure cost has been met.
So it may not be.
And it may not be 15. Yeah, Scott's right. It may not be 15. It may be
Okay.
10, 11, 12, 13. We don't
I
know.
just want to ensure that it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
I get it.
This is the safety part of it.
All right. I get it.
Okay, thank you. Bring more people. That's what we need. Gotta get over 100,000 here. Well, maybe, but you only want so many in Trainer, right?
Yeah, we only want, no, I didn't say that. First world problems, Scott.
Yeah.
First.
Then you gotta build new schools and all those good problems.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Brandon Burmeister, interim engineer, discussion and or decision to approve and authorize the board to sign 28E cooperative agreement for a competitive highway bridge program CHBP grant project and resolution 39/2025 in support of the joint CHBP grant and agreement and letter of support for the competitive highway bridge program CHBP grant project. Well, we done. Hey, Brandon.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
So hopefully,
Come up to the front, Brandon.
I can do that.
There's the front.
so hopefully, this is one of the final things I'm gonna ask on this, for this competitive highway bridge program grant. They, like I said at the last time, they kind of want everything in a really condensed. So this 2080 puts all the counties, I think there's a couple DOT projects and some city projects all in the same basket. I believe there's 32 bridges that they're all going all in for. And then the letter of support would just be that the Pot County Board of Supervisors is in support of trying for this $800,000 grant for this bridge replacement.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brandon, this grant with all of those other counties in there, the grant, I believe, on the Underwood Bridge project is actually being handled by like Cedar County or Clay County or something like that.
Right.
Will that same thing happen here?
We are in a bundle with Guthrie County. So,
Guthrie County will be the leader?
yes, Guthrie County has 2 bridges, Page County has 1 bridge, and we have 1 bridge.
the bundles are all split up into, I believe there's 15 bundles of regional, basically, bridges you're closest to. I have a good relationship with Guthrie County Engineer, so yeah, he's
Good.
I have no issue with him leading, so.
Instead of you.
Yeah, that's fine. We could lead. It's not, in Shelby County, when I was there, we were successful on 2, so we had 2 bridges in the same bundle that we led, and it's not a whole lot more work than.
So the, regional, I don't know how DOT does their regional maps, but they do them different than other state departments do their regional map. That's for darn sure. Guthrie County isn't, usually in our region per se. So you guys are, motioned and seconded to do the 2080 cooperative agreement for a competitive highway bridge program, CHBP grant project, right?
Correct.
Okay. That does not require a roll call from what I can tell, does it?
I don't believe so.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Next up is a resolution 39-2025 entitled in support of the joint CHBP grant agreement and letter of support for the competitive highway bridge program, CHBP grant project. This is the resolution.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Brandon, you opened that, bridge out there on Elm Tree?
Yes.
Have you been on it yet?
Yeah.
Really? How many people use that bridge, you think?
I think that traffic count is 30.
30?
So I know it's a big connector between the school districts.
That's not a very good road.
Yeah, it probably needs touched up. It's been closed for quite a while.
Right, but it's got
so
some challenging topography and turns to it and stuff.
the geography at the bridge isn't great, but
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Mitch K, Chief Financial Officer, discussion and or decision to repair and upgrade railing on the walking bridge at Hitchcock Nature Center.
And out there. Thank you. Yep. Okay, what we kind of have going on here is kind of working with the walking bridge out there at Hitchcock that was damaged during the storms last year. That was to declare the natural disaster from FEMA. And part of that repair and recovery efforts is some mitigation that can be done on these bridges and things that were damaged. So one of the options that we're looking at and we're going to recommend that we want to have done there. So this has been a kind of coordination between me and conservation and risk management, as Garfield has been working with the insurance company and I've been working with FEMA. So that's why I'm kind of presenting it to you guys here today. Basically what this mitigation effort is, it's putting that 2x6 across the top, which you'll see in that first photo, and then also that 3x3 piece of galvanized steel that goes underneath it. So that would be the addition to the work that's already going to be done to bring it up to the codes and standards. Believe like the total cost of the repairs and to bring it up to codes and standards was roughly around like $90,000, and our insurance is covering that. So, which is great. And then anything above, and then the mitigation, including any of our deductibles, FEMA is going to cover. But they want to get started on the repairs so they can open the bridge back up. So the thought process is while they're going there and doing the repairs to open back up, they should be doing this at the same time. So what I'm asking is that we go ahead and green light the contractors to go ahead and do this addition for the mitigation factor of it, with the hope that FEMA is going to pay it back. We definitely think they will, but it's FEMA, so I can't guarantee that they do. But it's probably something we should do anyway, just because of where that is and because of all the tree and overhang that can call down and fall on that railing. So
Is it closed now?
it is still currently closed, right?
It is.
Yes.
Then is that L brace that's in there that you're saying is, what, you said it's aluminum?
Galvanized steel.
galvanized.
Galvanized what?
Steel,
Steel, okay, that makes sense.
right.
They always tend to sag.
Yeah, and it'll just give us just a ton of extra support to that bridge. It doesn't, it's not even adding a ton more weight where you have to worry about any additional engineering or anything along those lines. It really does give that support. And since it's within that wheelhouse and since they're gonna be working on it already, it just really is a good thing. And what I would kind of, suggest to you for that, in the event that FEMA does not cover this additional $53,000, 100, it's probably something we should just do anyway, because of that bridge and, how costly it is to repair if we ever had to take care of that ourselves. So,
What's who are you dealing with at FEMA?
the new person.
Not Maya,
No, but yeah,
Leah, I think. So when are they telling you that they're gonna give you a word back on the,
well, with this and then, with the bid that we had from that C2 building company, I'll be able to provide that to them and then they'll cost average it or cost it for us. And we'll see what that dollars shake out to now that we kind of have all of our ducks in a row, what direction we were wanting to go. We'd even kind of explored, for the mitigation of, hey, could we just do, steel railing all the way across the bridge, and all the rungs and all that stuff. And obviously that got exceptionally expensive for things about a quarter mile long or so, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a quarter mile.
Yeah, so that was not gonna be within the threshold of what FEMA would pay for mitigation, because they'll pay 120% of what the actual cost of repairs were. So this falls under that, so it should be covered.
C2? Never even heard of them before. What, where are they out
I
of?
think they're out of Omaha.
Okay, did someone else bid it besides C2?
I can't answer that.
No, we didn't have anybody else bid it. We've had, very strong reviews from this company. I guess, Garfield, we did get an additional bid on the scale.
We did get an additional bid on it.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yep, we did have additional bids. C2 came in as the low bid with excellent reviews.
Hartfield, do you like this?
Yes, I think this is a great proposal. Like Mitch was saying that, the insurance company is gonna cover a majority of it. But for the mitigation piece with the steel beam, that we can get from FEMA, I think it's a great idea. So, and the key thing is to get it started, get it going. Once we had, I think 80% of completion, the insurance company will cut us the additional check to help, mitigate some of the costs.
Jeff, I think you said this is a quarter mile long. The whole walkway. What amount of the walkway is this covering? So this would cover the entire length of the railing going all the way down, both sides. Across the whole walkway?
That's correct.
The top railing on both sides.
I thought you just said a second ago, it wasn't feasible to do.
If we did, instead of the wood railings, like the wood runners, to do all of it as metal, that wasn't feasible. But this is with that galvanized steel inserted there, kind of like as the photo shows. If the posts were metal and all the railing and all the rungs were metal, that wasn't feasible.
Okay, but this angle iron is gonna be across the whole walkway, both sides, the entire length, quarter mile. That top one, yes.
Basically a mile, go fit down and back.
Yeah.
Where do you want this money to come from, Jeff?
I think this should come out of property improvement fund, because that's what we'll take the insurance proceeds back into and any additional FEMA money into.
Well, there's a fairly good chance that we're gonna get that back, right? Yeah. Is that where you want it? Is that where you want it from? Property acquisition fund?
I would think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I'll move that now.
Second.
Motion is from the property
Improvement acquisition fund, I think it's fund 19.
Property Improvement Fund 19. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
How soon will they start?
You don't have a date on that yet, but we'll
Okay.
get contact after this.
Okay, Jeff
Thank you.
Franco, Executive Director, Conservation, follow-up and discussion, the indoor decision on the request for Golden Hills RC&D Trails Coordinator position.
Hey, everybody, this is a follow-up conversation we had back on May 20 regarding a trails coordinator position for development of bike trails in Potawatomi County. Several requests for information, sure thing. Okay, from that, so we followed up with some of that information. Help further that discussion. So just a recap on this. Conservation Department with several partners have been working to develop multi-use bike trails in the county for over 15 years. And we've got about 5 miles of trail done. And we've come to the realization that what it really takes to get this done is somebody who's dedicated 100% of their time towards making bike trails in the county happen. And that's with fundraising, that's with working with the engineers, working with interested parties, make sure that we're getting things done in the way that we need to be doing them in a timely manner. The benefits for this, they remain to be seen. We've seen some benefits from the trails that we have, but 5 miles is not much. The goal of this is really to connect the small towns in this county with bike trails, with other towns, with our parks, creating economic development opportunities, bringing in people. We just heard the desire for additional development in some areas, bringing in outside people to kind of further stimulate the economics and the tax base in this county as well. These trails have the potential to do that. Also, when it comes to just the health of this county as well, I did have a quick conversation with Maria Seek as well in the health department, who talked about the importance of activity for our population as well. And in this packet, the packet that you were sent, one of the things was noted in there was that the Scioto study for trails in Iowa noted that Iowa ranked as 7th worst in the nation when it came to the kind of the physical fitness and health of its people. Potawatomi County stands to improve a little bit as well, according to Maria and some of her numbers. And so this type of recreational amenity is something that would benefit the county in a number of ways, not just the economics. Yes, there are economics that will come for this as well, but it'll benefit just the people themselves also. And I think one of the strongest reasons we can say right now that we should be doing something like this is the support that we have in the room for this position. And so we've got people from the Potawatomi County Trails Association, we have Joe Munch, we have Connie Casson, and we have Lynn leaders down on the end as well. We've got Golden Hills RC&D, who they're involved in a lot of the trail development in this county. They're willing to be a supportive partner in this as well. We have Matt Hankes with the Iowa West Foundation, who's a big partner here as well. And then we also have members of our Potawatomi County Conservation Board, Jerry Mathiasen and Chris Ruhak here as well. And this really is what we've come to understand is a collaborative effort to make this happen. We understand that everybody's stretched thin. Everybody has a lot on their plates. But if we all pull together, we can find the funding to do this, and we can find a person who can put the time to this as well. I guess one of the biggest supporters of our proposal right now, and one of the biggest supporters of what we've been trying to do over the last 15 years is the Iowa West Foundation. And so I'd like to invite Matt to maybe just speak on Iowa West Foundation's vision for this and their reasons for supporting this project as well.
So I'll just quickly say.
Why don't you let us build it and then you run it forever, Matt?
Iowa's already put $2.2 million towards the construction of the trail since 2014. We see this as the #1 requested amenity when we talk to folks in the county about what they'd like to see recreationally. We also know from the last 10 years that the #1 challenge has been how to move it forward with the rights of way. And we think the answer to that question is having someone who wakes up thinking about the interest of the property owners, trying to connect with them and make the case to them about why this adds value to what they're doing. So we are currently considering a request at the Iowa West Foundation. We'll be making a decision next week when our grants review committee meets. But we have a long history of support. You find a letter of support from us in your packet as well.
Joe, as the president of the Trails Association, is there anything you'd like to say as well?
Yeah, there's a lot, but you've said much of it already. As you guys know, especially Scott and Brian, you've been on our board for, each of you independently and together for quite a long time. Jeff's attended our meetings. I know Susan has shown great interest in it, and I'm sure Tim has great awareness as well. We've been working at this, like Jeff said, for a very long time with very slow progress. And a lot of the issues aren't just what Jeff said. There's so many focuses on everybody. You know, many of us are just volunteers for one. And the folks that are paid to do this work have many obligations. And what we're trying to do is find a person that we can all support to focus all of those efforts to create, you know, greater progress, greater focus, greater communication. That's a huge place where we fall down. You know, when department's working on something and, you know, they're handling it and the rest of us kind of lose track of where it's at, and then we're trying to circle the wagons to where we're at. And if there's a person that's dedicated to managing all that together, you know, there's nowhere but up. I think really we've only got 5 miles, but we have great progress happening now. We have great opportunity in the near future to probably get to Underwood within hopefully a couple of years, maybe. And after that, I think we will start to realize the opportunities and the benefit of this trail in real time, and we'll be able to see it. And after that, it'll be a no-brainer, but we have to get there, and we need somebody that can focus to push us that little bit further.
So after the last meeting, you know, we discussed several times in that meeting, I suppose, that what we're asking for, I guess, this group of supporters feels is a fairly low bar from this board and from this county to support this recreational amenity in the county. We're asking for $20,000 per year, so a one-time ask of $40,000 for a 2-year commitment to funding a trails coordinator position that would be housed under Golden Hills RC&D. They would support the development of trails in this county. It would be less than 50% of what is required to fund this position, but the benefits that it would bring to this county would far outweigh the $20,000 in benefits and in costs that it would take to get this position up and going. We've got a strong commitment. If we can get a commitment from this Board of Supervisors, from the Iowa West Foundation, we've got the Trails Association committing funds as well. We potentially have from the Community Foundation for Western Iowa, a grant potentially that may be coming there also. They're considering things. And we'd love to have the support of this Board of Supervisors as well, as this would be a county amenity that would bring so much. Yes, Jeff?
Jeff, do you have somebody in mind for this position at this point? Are you looking still?
Well, we haven't posted the position yet. We've had people that have caught wind of this, and there's interest out there in this position. So I think once we post this, we feel that we'll get some very quality candidates.
I'd like to make a motion to approve for 20,000 for 2 years out of gaming.
I'll second.
And the intent is that this person would be an employee of Golden Hills.
Right.
I also serve on the Golden Hills Board, and we have talked about this at different meetings, but I haven't seen any documentation like the funding agreement that's been included in our packet today. You know me, I dive right into the detail, but I just don't, I'm not comfortable as a Golden Hills member signing into that agreement the way it is. I'm very much in support of the project and hiring the person, but I want to set them up for success. And like you've got 5 different organizations here, all with the same expectations, but maybe with a little different expectations on what this person's going to do. And we need to make sure that Golden Hills is in that position to be the governance or the oversight for that person to make sure that they are successful and to provide the reports that you all desire and the board will desire so that we can see concrete in the ground. We can get there. This is the great solution for doing that. But I want to make sure that we proceed with the best intentions of everybody.
Yeah.
With them.
I think, and we've talked about creating a cooperative agreement within the coalition about roles and responsibilities and clearly outlining that oversight. Does that feel like the same it's intertwined with the funding agreement, or is that a separate piece?
I'm not sure if the funding agreement is even necessary. I mean, it's no different than any request that comes to this board for gaming funds. I mean, it should just be a one document or one page document that asks for the money and here's what we're going to do with it. I don't know. I see Kristen shaking her head. I think she's probably got the same thoughts about it, that it's a lot. To me, it just sounded a little unnecessary and a little bit of overreach for what we're trying to accomplish.
I don't know that the individual, the many caps that they're gonna have to wear to do that job, you can get them for that kind of money. You get what you pay for. So, and we need to retool this thing one time. 5 miles ain't cutting it. You gotta take care of the 5 miles we got.
What do you suggest we do?
What do you suggest you do? Find somebody that's gonna go out and raise you a bunch of money?
Why not?
Totally agree that fundraising will be a big priority in the candidate search. We also,
Hey, you named off a bunch of things this person's gonna do.
yeah, that's, I mean, that's.
So
typical.
that should be
Yeah.
the primary goal.
Yeah,
And then they get rewarded for what they raise.
right, yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely a priority. It's pretty typical in the nonprofit realm to wear a lot of hats. So I'm like, that's kind of par for the course for us. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, the other thing is Golden Hills has a potentially modified work schedule, 32-hour work week. So it may be that we get a candidate who is willing to do it at 32 hours a week for that amount. There's some flexibility there with the
What you pay
salary.
for.
I agree with you. I
So-
agree.
That ain't cutting it.
You know what? I agree, it's gonna take an exceptional to fill this position. I think it needs to happen. And it's gonna be up to that person to make all this other stuff work. I mean, he's gonna be wearing many hats, but you know, I know I've been there before, and probably many of us have been there before. You do wear several hats. And at times, you know, we make decisions and based on what hat we got on at the time, so. But you know, as one of the supervisors that sit in on you guys' meetings, I know how important this is to make happen, and it needs to. So that's my.
And I support your statement where you said that as volunteers, it's easy not, you hit one obstacle and you lose hope, you lose interest. And holding somebody accountable and with the board's support that says, hey, we can go 3 miles out of the way if we can't get this 1 mile. Let's look at the options. And I think somebody who wakes up in the morning and they're like, okay, I'm gonna figure out a way to get over that 1 mile obstacle today and get the right people to help them with those answers.
Susan, to that point, I'd like to say it's not as if our intention is to get this individual hired and we step back and walk away. I mean, many of us are so invested. I'll probably die continuing to build trails in this community, I think, but this individual will have all kinds of support from us as much as we're able to. But the issue is just that we get somebody that is day to day looking at this, coming up with strategies, helping to solidify plans, coordinating, asking us to, that's it. That's the downfall.
In the packet that you guys have, there is a trails coordinator statement of need in the proposed oversight structure. It's laid out. That's been discussed in depth with the Trails Association with Golden Hills as well, with the steering committee that helps define the direction, the overall high level direction and the day-to-day operations that are controlled and maintained. And that oversight is provided by Golden Hills as well. So there's a fair amount of oversight that's been and thought that's been put into the oversight of this position also.
And we have similar roles on our team already. We have project coordinators that oversee, outdoor recreation and tourism largely for Pottawatomie County, which is something you all have supported. So this person will also kind of be nestled in within that program area and have a cohort right on our team that will help them as well.
Well, they need to get out and start working on the 5 miles they got already, if you're gonna show us how you're gonna do it in the future.
What do you mean working on them, Scott? I'm curious.
Just go look at the static trail. Does the weeds need to be sprayed? Does it need to be mowed on the edges?
It was just.
Yeah, it's been mowed.
We mow it a few times a month.
Yeah, I came by this morning on my commute in and there, you know, at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning, there are 6 people on the trail
Oh,
today.
there's people on.
There's demand. The citizens of this county, once they have this available to them, it's gonna be used. It's an amenity that isn't provided currently and needs to be provided.
Not connected.
Well, right, and so that's the point. We got to get somebody that can just push us that little bit further.
You gotta get somebody in the city to connect it.
How's that? Oh,
Oh,
for the,
to the city council. bluffs,
Yeah, go
right?
ahead.
And we've
Yes.
had that
Yep.
conversation, Vincent
Hey, I've
Martorella.
had it.
Yeah, I-
Gone.
well, no, I had a conversation with Brandon about a week ago. Brandon has taken up the torch of that. He's pretty much committed to that project happening this fall, this spring. I honestly, like I said previously, that we're going to have a trail between Council Bluffs and Underwood within 2 years. I know it, but it's gonna take this individual just to get us there.
Susan, I want to make sure I understand what you said. Are you looking for a specific form from this group requesting those funds?
But our typical requestment form that Golden Hills filled out before for our support for Golden Hills is no different than what.
We can certainly do that. I mean, the way that this is laid out here in the information that Jeff provided us and it's in our packet, I don't have any issues with moving forward with that, but if you want a form, we can certainly ask them to put together a request for it.
I'm just thinking of request form instead of the funding agreement that's between the county and.
I look at this as a grant. And when Potawatomi County gives a grant, we aren't involved in how it's allocated after the fact, how they spend it, how they do anything with it. And I don't think we want to, do we? No.
And I agree with what you just said, and that was my concern about the document that was in the packet. That was a funding responsibility between Golden Hills and the county. I just thought it wasn't necessary. We didn't need that additional noise to get this project.
I think that's a good comment, Susan. That was provided as an example of an agreement, grant agreement that could be utilized. It does not have to be utilized in any way. We can certainly simplify this to make this go a little smoother.
Yeah, I see this as a grant as well, and the county helping to fund this position and Golden Hills oversight of the position. And all of you staying in your lanes, but helping move this person forward is the way that it's going to be successful. And I've ridden my bike on the new trail and it goes nowhere. It doesn't do anything. And it was the most disappointing bike ride of my life because I wanted to keep going. And it just needs to be expanded.
So what's conservation's role then?
Conservation's role is going to be just the oversight of the trail itself, maintenance and the upkeep there with assistance from the Potawatomi County Trails Association. Their initial goal, intent of their organization was to provide long-term maintenance funds for this. So we'll be kind of the point person on this, maintaining this recreational resource as we would maintain any of our other recreational resources as well.
The, mentioned, Jeff, this is a one-time ask. Also in this, breakdown of the dollars, you have a $15,000. Is that a grant that's secured?
Which one? Sorry.
This $15,000 a year for 2 years.
Oh, that's from the association, I believe.
Yep.
Yes, from the Trail Association. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is committed.
Comment section.
Pardon me?
In the comments section to the side, it notes who's providing.
Okay. You also mentioned, I'm gonna get this. The, county document, what's the name of it?
Community Foundation.
Yeah.
West Community Foundation.
I mean, they changed, so what I,
It did, yeah.
so are there funds coming from there too?
That actually, no, that at the time of writing this grant application, that was a pending request that we did not get. That was a $5,000 request. So that's fundraising I'll have to make up as the executive director of Golden Hills.
Then, you mentioned this is a 2-year position. What do you do in year 3?
This person will have fundraised for their own role with support from the coalition.
So they should have hopefully they have fundraised, got enough grants to cover their salary.
Yeah, and they're not fundraising alone. I'm also fundraising for the organization, and we have another, like I said, outdoor recreation and tourism manager who will also be helping fundraise for the position.
I think that's an awesome approach. I really do.
Yeah.
Last question, I think. I read in here, and I haven't gone through it again, but I read in here that this individual does more than write grants.
That's correct.
It is going to be a, more or less a inspector of the work being completed and that kind of stuff. Did I read that somewhere?
I think there'd be coordination.
I did.
Okay, so there would be coordination with the engineering firm. That'll actually be doing the construction inspection and oversight. So there'll be some oversight and reporting back with that engineering firm would be the idea versus this person providing the technical expertise needed to provide that oversight.
For the project manager.
It'd be a point of contact for several sources.
Coordination
including the
and
engineering
communication.
firm. Correct.
Work 30 hours a week or whatever.
Well, look, the internal benefits and compensation package is something Golden Hills will work out with a candidate, but we have a really wonderful benefits package. It's very competitive. We'll continue to improve upon it. There's a lot of reasons people go into nonprofit, and it's not for the money. I'll tell you that much.
Just telling you, contractors work sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes 14 hours a day, so.
I think the nice thing about this as well is right now we're planning for a 2-year position, and really that's a trial period here. And after that, we can fine tune this. And I think the ideal situation is that we have this person fundraising for themselves. After 2 years, we're hoping this position is successful and that this board can see the benefits of this position, what it's brought to the county. And potentially, we decide that this position does warrant a higher salary. In which case we may be back to this board with the potential for an additional ask to say, this has been very successful. Here are the benefits of the county. We'd like you to support this again. But there can be adjustments made after this period, I think, after we get into this a little bit and see what needs to be adjusted.
There's $307,000 in the Potawatomi County Trails Fund. Do we think about using any of that?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. So a lot of that is allocated for construction and engineering fees. Some of that can't be used for personnel, as my understanding of that is.
Okay. What do we have an estimate on the project cost to get to Underwood?
Engineering fees were going to be between $300,000 and $400,000, and we'd be anticipating about $1 million a mile of construction costs.
Where are you at with the funds on that? This is what this person is going to do.
We have some grants out for the engineering funds to secure those engineering funds. And then they would be raising additional funds for the construction.
Well, why don't you come back in a year and let us know how you're doing?
I think we can report back on that.
Okay.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay. David Bear, Chief Information Officer, discussion and or approval of updates to the employee handbook policy, accept use and end user security.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's appreciated.
See some trail.
Yeah.
On motorbikes, okay. Just fine.
Good morning.
Morning.
So a few months back, the board had asked me to put some additional accountability in our cybersecurity policies. We have 2 of those in the employee handbook. One is acceptable use policy and one is the end user security policy. And so in front of you or in your packet, you have what those changes are that we're requesting to approve today. Essentially, it's an escalated disciplinary procedure if users who violate the policy, what would happen with them. First, incident, a verbal warning and training. Second incident, a written warning and training. Third incident, loss of system access and training. And then fourth incident, possible termination. Examples of breaking the policy certainly would be failed phishing events, whether it's IT phishing or real phishing, a data breach of some sort caused by the employee, or password sharing. So those are items that we've added to both policies. Just for historical purposes of the IT run phishing campaigns, we've done 9 of those in the last 3 years. We had 68 people click the fake link. And mind you, out of 9 attempts or 9 phishing campaigns, that's, 4,500 roughly emails that have gone out. So 68 have clicked and 34 have given their username and password. So not horrible percentages, but obviously we want to protect our data, we want to protect our systems, and so that's the point of adding the teeth that you guys asked me to do. So, any questions?
David, we, policy committee reviewed these last Tuesday.
Correct.
And they agreed with these recommendations.
Correct.
And they are written where it talks about the employee will do this and the employees will abide by these policies. And my concern was elected officials, are they considered to be employees? Because obviously they're governed differently as far as expectations and hiring and firing. But I think the intent is that these procedures apply to all employees, everyone who accesses the system, and the elected officials need to be held to the same standards.
Our systems are at risk no matter who's involved in them, right?
Click on nothing, you don't.
Don't click, if you don't know who it's from and you're not expecting that email,
Two this
don't
morning,
click it.
crashed.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the updates to the employee
I
handbook.
will second that motion.
Only discussion would be it's the employees. I'm not sure elected officials and the Iowa code, how that reads for us being treated that way. So I would ask that either Kristen or Matt clear that up.
Well, I mean, I can clear some up for you right now. You can pass whatever policies you want as a board. But for employees, for the elected officials and the employees of the elected officials, it's pretty much voluntary whether we do or do not comply. I mean, that's just the employee handbook. This board does not have the ability to direct employees and conditions of employment for any of the independent elected officials or the elected officials themselves. I generally choose to abide by the employee handbook because I think it's a good idea to have policies and procedures and not be making decisions on a whim. But as far as, like acts now, it gets to be an interesting question as far as access to IT. Because, I mean, I've had this discussion with David. I said the day that this board decides that you want access to information for my employees on what they're doing with their email is the last day that we'll probably use county IT because I have confidential information that I wouldn't want anybody to have access to. I think the sheriff would probably feel the exact same way. I don't anticipate we're ever going to be in that world, but that world is existing right now with a big lawsuit over in Sarpy County. I don't know if you read that in the papers. But there was an internal investigation involving an employee in the county attorney's office. The county attorney in Sarpy County made the decision that minor discipline was appropriate, but not termination. The board wanted this attorney fired. The board then made the decision that they were going to terminate the employee's ad. They said, well, we can't fire you, but we can terminate your access to the email and access to the courthouse. And so now that attorney has been on administrative leave, getting paid for the past 7 months, while the county attorney has sued the board over interfering with the office, and they've dropped at least $300,000 in outside counsel fees, and it's turned into a big nightmare. So my point is, we don't want those sorts of power struggles to pop up because they can be very expensive. But this board is obviously
able to handle, wages and those types of things. Conditions of employment are the elected official's responsibility, but it is a little bit of a weird gray area as far as access to county systems that the board funds. So I'm just saying, it behooves us all to sort of, hopefully get along because they are not in Sarpy County and it's going bad. It's getting expensive for everyone.
Comfortable how this is written.
I'm fine with it. As I said, when this issue first came up, I'd love to get no access to the email anymore. I'm gonna find out how fast I can violate this 3 times. And I don't have to read my emails anymore, but I would hope, I think David had said, I don't know that we've ever had anybody get fished twice, right? Have we ever had, I think the training program that IT has put into place is working. I think they catch somebody that violates and they're doing a good job of educating them so that they don't violate twice. So, to me, it doesn't sound bad. If I had somebody that clicked on 4 phishing campaigns, I'd be pretty irritated as a boss, and that's gonna be pretty significant employment consequences myself.
And that's why we have 4 steps here. We don't fire them on the first attempt, right? This is, hey, you clicked this, you shouldn't have training. Please don't look for these signs. Don't do it again, right? And then there's an escalation process.
Yeah, because usually there's only 3 strikes. Depends on who's refereeing.
I guess so,
Their own minor.
right? This isn't baseball, I guess.
Or who likes baseball and who doesn't.
Right.
Okay, any other discussion?
Well, Matt, if you looked at this, I don't really have any issues with it. If we have an employee that violates it 3 times in a row, they're gonna lose access to that's it. We can't put the county at risk because an employee can't follow directions. As far as the termination goes, we don't fire.
Any other discussion?
I will add, there's varying degrees here. If someone clicked 4 emails in 3 days, that's a problem, right? If on day 1, someone clicks an email and then 10 years later they do one, not as big of a deal, right? Or if you're on day 3 of your employment, you allow access from an outside bad actor into Tyler and they steal $1 million. You get what I'm saying? It says may be taken, right? These steps may be taken. So I think it's a case by case as well. These are the guidances, but I think depending on severity and quantity and time frame.
It's structured very similar to progressive discipline in any other aspect. So, there are times where I think, you could have a really egregious breach on a first-time offense. That could be a big problem. Somebody has a HIPAA violation that costs us $500,000. You're going to treat that differently than, a test fish that comes out from IT. So I think you always have the discretion to skip up or down on steps depending on the severity. But I think this at least provides pretty clear guidance that it's an issue that needs to be taken seriously.
Well, it looks like on the third attempt, immediate loss of system access. They're gonna be done anyway.
Yeah,
You function.
we would turn off their access and then there'd be conversations with the supervisor saying, hey, they can't do their work probably. And so what do we do? And that's the next.
4 would be the next step anyway. It's, you do 3.
Right.
You're out. How can you function?
It all depends on what it is too, right? What
Yeah.
happened and what have you, but yeah.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, David.
Brandon Beermeister, interim engineer, discussion and decision to approve and authorize payroll status change for Christina Trentinos.
I guess I didn't know if the board had anything for me. I didn't ask for this to be on the agenda, so I know it was on the agenda for last week and it got removed. Like Kristen was the one who told me it was gonna be on the agenda today, and that was yesterday, so I didn't know if the board had anything for me. I guess My recommendation was contained in the memo that I sent with the payroll status change for last week, so.
Did you do a salary comparison on that, Brendan?
As far as,
Anybody else in the state for a job similar duties, what they got paid?
I guess I assume when that payroll sheet is put together, the light duties are, she's still staying within her same classification.
I understand that, but I mean, did you compare it with, positions at any other company or at any other county?
No, I did not.
Okay. It's been kind of customary for this board to take a look at anytime we want to move an employee more than a step. And, I really have an issue with this one. Last fiscal year, the salary was 104. And if you move it in 105 with longevity. You move it to this year, it's 117. That's a $12,000 a year raise. We don't give $12,000 a year raise. And what extra duties will she have to do? I mean,
Without John there, we're just picking up a lot of the slack.
so no extra duties. I mean, she's not working out of class. Not an engineer. She can't design a bridge, or this position can't design a bridge, can't design a road, can't design a culvert. We give every employee in this county everything we could with a 3.25% increase. And giving a 12% increase to one position, I just can't support. We have never, and since I've been on the board, given that big of a raise. And if you take a look at the bottom line of where this would end up, this position would pay more than 3 elected officials. More than 4 department heads. $50,000 to $60,000 more than those employees that are out there at 5 o'clock in the morning pushing snow, grading roads. Well, I think it's, I just can't support it. I mean, I've done some more information on it too, but I just don't really want to get into any kind of a personnel issue. But, I think if we move forward with this, we are telling our other employees that, we can only afford to give you 3.5, but we can give somebody else 12% raise. I just don't think this is the right move.
So Brandon, I know we've thrown a lot at you in the last 6 weeks, and I appreciate you bringing this particular pay adjustment to us because you compared it. I mean, right away, we put working out of class pay in place for you when you accepted the interim position for the county engineer. I went back to the policies that we have in place today, and I want to read out loud from the position classification plan. This is our policy, and it was effective in July 2009. And it says, when substantial changes in duties, responsibilities, and or qualifications of an existing position have been made, the department head shall notify the Board of Supervisors in writing of such changes. The reasons for such changes shall also be submitted. And you've done that. Your memo explained that. In our packets, we've also got the org chart that Scott requested from all the departments earlier this year. Near top, obviously you've moved up to that role. If you look on the parallel line, we've got the assistant engineer, who's now, that position is you're doing double duty. The project administrator who's on that, he's retiring in July, the end of this month. Is that correct, Brandon? And the intent was that his responsibilities would be absorbed by the assistant engineer. Well, we're in a state of flux there. And then we've got our two foremans, and then we've got Tina over here, and she's got a lot of responsibility. And what you're saying is she's accumulated more. The two of you are trying to balance what the three of you used to do, plus the idea that we've got a fourth person that those duties are going to have to be done for. So going back to the policy that I read, it says the Board of Supervisors may request a job study from the Human Resources Department, and upon completion shall classify and reallocate the position to a new classification and pay grade if appropriate. So maybe that's something we need to consider if we can't approve the request that's in front of you today, or that's been put in front of us. And I see that the justification, she is absorbing more responsibilities. She's helping through this interim transition. It's a gray area because it's not sure if it's going to be an out of class pay. It doesn't qualify for that. But once we get a county engineer and then we post the assistant engineer position, do we take her back down the pay? And maybe that's where the study comes in as far as what's expected and what's normal. And then I just want to close with the salary administration policy number 201. And this one was revised May of 2021. The policy is, it is the policy of Potawatomi County to pay employees in a non-discriminatory and competitive manner. And I believe your recommendations justify that. And with that, I'm going to make the motion that we approve the payroll status change as submitted.
Second.
In 2022, this position was reclassified. It got a $2 an hour raise, then it went to $93,000 a year. And 3 years later, now it's 117. That's $24,000. That's an $8,000 a year raise. I think we're moving this thing way too fast. And as far as discrimination goes, I didn't think I had to go this far, but back when this position was hired for, this person made $32,000. 12 years later, 117. Figure that out. That's an $85,000 a year, $85,000 increase in 12 years. Averages out $7,000 a year. So there's no discrimination here. This position is paid perfectly fine. In my opinion, this position should get that 3.25% increase just like any other one did. And her job description didn't change. Her duties didn't change. Duties are the same.
Is that true, Brandon?
In the interim, with only 3 members of management now instead of 4, there's definitely increased duties on all of us.
Outside of her job description?
She's picking up administrative duties that were handled by the county engineer.
I mean, I've got her job description too, and I've looked it over, and I don't know. But I tell you, with giving someone a $12,000 a year raise like this, I think we're gonna have mutiny in the ranks, and I think this is a terrible signal to send to the rest of our employees.
like I said, it's kind of a gray area.
Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Nay.
Supervisor Miller,
I,
Supervisor Jorgensen. If I could make one comment real quick, I'm very supportive of augmenting salaries for people who are put in a position that weren't there before because of what we're facing right now. What you're facing, what the department is facing. And I agree, Susan mentioned, that maybe we need to get an analysis from our HR department about what's happening now and then what's going to be happening in the future. But I agree with Tim, $12,000 annual increase. We're going to be hearing from them. And it certainly is, for me, a very gray area. I want to be supportive, but at the time, $12,000 is not something I can support at this time. So I'm going to vote. Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Okay,
so do we want to request a job study? Because going back to the policy,
agenda.
well, we can talk about it. The Board of Supervisors
We're
may
moving on to the
request
next
a
item.
job study.
We voted, we're moving on to the next item.
Well, Brandon would like some direction of what he can,
Not on the agenda.
we can,
When,
okay.
okay, update from board members on committee meetings from the past week. Jeff?
I was at the Veterans Services meeting yesterday. Their budget has come to an end this fiscal year, and they still have money. So that's all.
I didn't write it down, but went to a couple of meetings and I actually was in the hospital for a couple of days.
Okay, Tim?
No.
Susan?
I participated in the state audit exit exam for the audit for 2024 and the policy committee meeting.
I also participated in the audit. Hopefully we'll get that back and then we'll have to have a study session in regards to that. You didn't sit in on that, did you? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. And then other than that, try to start practicing not using my phone while I'm driving. But I did see while I was out this weekend, if these Nebraska friends of mine, these tourists, are expecting to continue the way they're working, they're gonna be surprised when Iowa gives them $100 tickets January 1. Oh, just FYI. Okay, public comments, none? Okay, closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Article 21.5, parent 1, parent I, for state personnel matters.